Well, this report had as a goal to show beyond any doubt that those innocent trails of frozen water vapor do contain a little more than just water vapor. On behalf of the Belfort Group, by the way, and of all humanity, we would like to congratulate and thank the international team responsible for this report and for the scientific evidence-based and very well-documented continents. The Belfort Group will do whatever lies in our power to spread and distribute this report worldwide and bring it to the attention of key responsibles and influential people with a conscience towards humanity. You don't find very much of them. But by the time that New World Order will have been forgotten as a quote, we hope that global awareness will still be remembered. For this very important task of commenting this report and reviewing it, we needed to find an academic of undisputed reputation, familiar with the subject and the problematics, and especially willing to comment freely and objectively in a critical way. I believe that you understand how difficult it is to find such a person. You will therefore also understand how delighted and grateful we are to introduce this expert in aviation and space technology from the Technische Universiteit Delft in the Netherlands. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coen Vermeeren.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here with so many of you. A few weeks ago, Peter Vermeeren asked me to review this 300 or more page report. And of course, first I declined because I said, well, I'm not an expert. And then he said, well, there are no experts, basically not in the open at least. And because I tend to be a bit open-minded, I am not here on behalf of our university, but I do work there as an aerospace engineer. So at least the trailing business is part of my space, my workspace. But I also organize a lot of lectures out of the box for the Delft University, and well, this is typically out of the box. So I said, okay, I will do it. I'm going to sit down because I have to do a lot of reading. This is scientific stuff, so that means 300 pages. I won't give them to you, but I will give you some of the pages. And Peter asked me to be as objective as possible. I think that is an impossibility because you can never be objective about anything, but I will try to be as much as I can. It is not that I was unfamiliar with the chemtrail discussion, because we have a lot of first-year students in Delft studying aeronautical engineering, about 500 a year, so that's a lot. And there are always maybe between 5 to 15 students who ask questions to teachers. And at first you think, well, okay, that's quite normal. And then you start thinking about it again. And it seems to be more difficult than at first sight. Okay, so this is the report, case orange it is called, for reasons that I will come back to you on. Chemtrail science, its impact on climate and weather manipulation programs conducted by the United States and its allies. The authors are unknown. That is always a bit dubious, as you can understand, because, well, you cannot talk to the scientists involved, and that makes this quite a special job. The introduction and the evaluation of the report are on my account. The rest of the 5 chapters are from this report by the unknown authors. Let's start with the introduction. We heard it today already a few times. We have got shifting baselines. That means that I'm of another generation, and many of you are, that remember that there are blue skies. Every now and then you could see an aircraft with a trail, which we find quite normal. But usually people are with their heads to the ground in their own two-dimensional space and they don't look up. But if you do, you see more and more spaces like this. And it worried me too. I have no explanations to our students about these phenomena. So that is important to realize. Well, this, of course, you all know. If you look at them from a scientific point of view, the first thing a scientist does is trying to explain something. Because I'm smart and my students are not as smart yet, so I have to give them answers to questions. But if you ask most scientists honestly, they cannot answer all your questions, which is just a truth to keep in mind. So, this looks normal, maybe it is, maybe it's not. On the internet there's a lot of discussion and you all recognize these pictures. By the way, I cannot say that there are toxins in these barrels. That's not what I've investigated. I do know from experience that these barrels are used for shifting water down the plane in test flights to simulate movements of the center of gravity around the aircraft for control and steering testing. So that's quite normal. This is not a conspiracy in all cases, at least. So, if you look at these contrails, of course we live in a world of Photoshop. As an expert, I cannot say that these things are wrong. If I see them myself, then I'm a first-hand eyewitness, I can say something about it. But it is not normal. What you see here is absolutely not as it should be. The same goes for this pattern here, which was seen above the Netherlands, and not only the Netherlands, of course, we've seen many pictures already. Also above the northern Netherlands a few weeks ago. And they are often explained as holding patterns. Well, holding patterns are given to aircraft who have to hold before they can land. Well, in this part of the country we cannot have this many aircraft holding, and especially on the altitudes that they are holding, you should not be able to see chemtrails in a perfectly blue sky. So these are strange phenomena as well. Okay, that in mind, I'm going to the report, and the report is divided in a few chapters, as you can see here. We'll go through them all. Contrails then. We have known them ever since men started to fly at high altitude. And this picture here is famous for the B-17 bombers in the Second World War. And they didn't like it. The pilots didn't like these trails because they made enemy fighters it gave enemy fighters an easier job to track them down. So they didn't like that. The question that came to my mind immediately